Now, what you're talking about is this leaked rumor from a Kurt Bardella. He is a former GOP senior advisor to the Oversight and Government Reform Committee. Not somebody that I consider to be particularly close to President Trump, but more importantly, he is now an avid Democrat. So he put this kind of rumor out there, but the reality is there is no doubt that Donald Trump himself is definitely going to get in the race. The question is, does he get in before the November general election, which is expected to be a red flood, or does he do it after the general election? Either way, you know that Trump is definitely wanting a second chance to reclaim his Oval Office.
2 words, DeSantis.
Yes, exactly. The governor from Florida, that is probably the #1 contender that Trump would have to battle up against for the Republican nomination. You also have Governor Glenn Youngkin out of Virginia. He's very popular. The money people of the RNC definitely are eyeing him. They met with him just recently. The other issues, we know that Mitch McConnell and the establishment Republicans that are in the Senate right now, especially if they gain control, they don't necessarily want another Trump presidency. So they're going to be looking for somebody as well. But the reality of it is, like you said, DeSantis, who is the governor of Florida, very much a conservative, he would be the biggest contender. But as of now, he keeps saying that he would not run against Donald Trump. Would he run as vice president to Trump? That's another question. But a lot of people in America right now are looking at what the Democrats are doing with the January 6th committee, and they're going, Republicans especially are going, thank you. Because it's very hard to talk to Trump, whether you're for him running for president or not. It's very hard right now to tell Trump, you know what, maybe you need to sit this one out. And the Democrats seem to be doing the Republicans' dirty work for them and possibly sending that message to Trump that it's not time for him in 2024. And Democrats don't realize that they're doing, some of those Republicans that don't want to see Trump running again, doing their dirty work for them.
We're hearing a lot of reports following the congressional hearings about Capitol Hill. And Scottie, are those hearings doing Trump any harm outside and indeed inside his party? Is he immune from harm on those, or are they affecting his reputation even more?
It depends on which route you want to look at. On one hand, it's making him look like a victim, like he's targeted, something that he always said he was when he was president. And the more that they continue to kind of throw these easily discredited interviews out there where people go, wait a minute, the truth's not even being told there, makes him look like the victim. But on the other hand, for those who might already have indigestion in the Republican Party from the idea of Trump being president, who still have the battle scars, the battle wounds from when he was in office, it just reminds them of the type of battle that they went through getting him into office, while he was in office, and obviously still continuing to fight those battles. And they're tired. I'll be honest with you. The Republican Party, especially a lot of the Trump supporters, are tired. So if they have a option that offers the same sort of conservative agenda that Trump has to offer, but not as much of as someone that goes a little bit down, a little bit easier than Trump does to the soul, they're going to look to them real quickly.
Talking about tired, Joe Biden looks tired. Whether he is or whether he isn't, surely he wouldn't run again, would he?
Well, he keeps saying that he is. Obviously, he wants to make people look that he's very strong, that he's going to run again. But the reality of it is it's only 18 months into his presidency, and there's no one else the Democrats are talking about running for president. I mean, you hear different names being speculated. Republicans already have a laundry list of people that they feel should be qualified, could easily handily beat Joe Biden and the Democrats, mainly because of the type of agenda they've already put into place. So, yes, he looks very tired. He's not going to tell people he's not running again, but I think it's very, very doubtful. The question is, who do the Democrats have to replace him at this point? There's not many options. Kamala Harris herself continues to have international flub after flub. You've got Governor Newsom out of California. He seems to be kind of like their chosen one right now. Wouldn't necessarily, you look at his track record in California, it's an easy one to beat if you're a Republican running against him. There's not really many options. The Democrats are going to continue to look at Biden, hoping that maybe there'll be some sort of, Hail Mary he can throw that'll save our economy and save the entire Democratic Party come November.
When you think about the Trump presidency and you think about whatever your views of him, he certainly was a bit of a loose cannon. He did things his own way. He was his own man. I'm interested in your own views. If he was in power now, how alarming do you think the situation in Ukraine would be, given that nobody could really predict what President Trump's foreign policy would look like? I mean, there's always that fear, isn't there, that he would strong-arm Putin, that we'd be in a nuclear situation before you know it. I mean, is that the sort of discussion that's being had in the States? You know, how would Trump be dealing with Putin in this situation? And how worried are people by that?
Well, the situation would have never happened because it didn't happen when it was under President Trump. There is no doubt about that. There's nothing that changed between Ukraine and Russia when Trump was president, and Trump and Ukraine and Russia as Biden is president. There was no change in dynamic. It was just the U.S. president and what that foreign policy was following the horrible Afghanistan withdrawal led by the United States. So what I think you would have never have seen yourself into this situation, you would have seen some sort of peaceful agreement between Russia and Ukraine, possibly never getting into this war, because there was never a war underneath Trump between Russia and Ukraine. That is, I think, where the difference would be. If you saw President Trump put back into office, and I pray if he is in 2024, that we're not still dealing with this conflict between Russia and Ukraine, that there is some sort of peace that comes to that region for the benefit of the people. I think that you're going to see a Trump return to an America first, because he's going to have, if he thought it was bad after 8 years with President Obama's agenda, President Biden's been able to unravel within the United States borders in 18 months. A lot of the Trump policies that have put us into the place we are today. So I think you will see a more domestic-focused president, regardless if it's Trump or any other Republican put in office, mainly out of necessity. Because if they don't, our country's there's no point of success right now coming from any part of the American agenda currently, thanks to the Biden administration.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows, and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.